Hi everyone. Well, here at Remote, your best you, Reverend Dr. Kat, your host, and Joan's here. Hi,
JOAN KACZMARCZYK, how are you?
Yeah, JOAN KACZMARCZYK has been here as a good witch and as Moon Dance Huskies with her other family friends in the Husky department.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some videos up there with Nutmeg TV. We have about 30 shows up. Woo, woo. So very exciting. I mean, honestly, it's been such a long year.
That's an understatement.
So it's been really, really, really challenging for everyone in every different way.
And in so many ways.
In so many ways.
Yeah.
But we're here.
Yeah.
And it's December. So I thought we'd talk today about there's so much going on in December, that we can look towards for ways to align and connect. And then we can have moments where we can breathe and relax. And then we can, have times where we want to reflect on the new year coming.
Yes.
And how we're going to direct our energies so we'll have a couple of shows over the course of January and this month as well, and I think we'll be talking about some of those topics.
Yes, I'm sure we will.
That would be fun.
Yes, it will.
Okay, so I started thinking about how much Christmas and the whole idea of Hanukkah and Kwanzaa, and then we have the solstice, and I kind of put it all together, and I thought, what are the connecting links of, I guess, the symbols and the meaning behind some of the symbols. Because we often think of the symbol of something as has one meaning here now, like, for example, a Christmas tree.
Right. Very, very recognizable symbol.
Right. Very recognizable in terms of a particular tradition,
right?
And that it has grown to be, but in terms of where it came from,
I'm sure it's quite different.
Always, yes. So, I thought, well, what's the energy of the sense of these Christmas trees? And they're the evergreen. Okay, when you think of even the name evergreen, okay, now again, I'm always bringing us back, Ruby's here, bringing us back and back in time so that we think of a time, especially since we have a solstice coming up and we have a ring of fire this month as well, is in the Sagittarian eclipse area. When you think of the times of back then when they saw these phenomenons, it really had to have...
That had to freak them out.
Well, it had to have given them a pause of existence and what's beyond that's causing these phenomenons to occur. So,
I'm sure that especially if it was a solar eclipse and they were seeing the sun disappear behind the shadow of the moon,
right?
They had to be totally flipped out.
Yes, there was some very, very strong, powerful God that was taking and it must be appeased. And so when you think of that time when we didn't have the lights and we didn't have the TVs or any of the things that we kind of, in so many ways, for the generations that exist now, it's just norm.
Right.
But for the times of yore, they didn't have any of that.
Exactly.
And so imagine, remember the show I talked about the oak tree?
Yes.
And what did I say about it?
You were talking about the oak.
It's strong.
It's strong.
It's one of the strong,
right. It is
strong trees.
one of the strongest trees there
But guess what happens to the oak when the cold winter comes?
Well, it loses its trees and it drops its
looks like
acorns.
it
It looks like it
dies.
died.
But the evergreen
Doesn't.
stays forever green.
It does.
And became a symbol of everlasting life, so that it would survive and be green, and not all the leaves would fall. The needles are a particular waxy.
Yeah, it's a different kind of
and there's a
thing.
way that they are on the branches, that they reach up to the light, and there's also the clustering of their, chlorophyll or whatever eating. I would have to look at my notes, but it just fascinated me to think that how one could look at something like that as a miracle.
Oh, sure.
How could that one tree?
Yeah.
Why?
Why
It must
that
be a
one
very sacred tree.
Right. Why isn't it dropping?
We should bring that tree or something of that tree into our house. See? But think of us. Think of how you would think, if you can, if you had these certain conditions, one condition or another condition. It changes your perception. And when your perceptions change, I've spoken about this all the time, change of view, change of perception. And you're broadened, your perspective becomes less myopic, more broadened. So I thought, isn't that the most amazing thing? And then I saw something I should have written it down, but it's been so busy.
Yeah, it has.
It was on one of the social media platforms, and I don't remember where it came from. I apologize. I always like to know, but it's not my source. But it's a trick, and I'd like to share it with you. You can get a pine needle and put it in a little, bowl that you would put flowers in.
Yeah.
With dirt, and put the pine needle in so that most of the pine needle is exposed, and you water it, and it will grow a tree.
Really?
Yeah, right in your home.
Oh my goodness.
As the needle is rot,
Yeah.
and a sprout comes out of it.
Oh, for Pete's sakes.
So I thought, well, wouldn't that be fun for the kids for this holiday season?
Sure.
To bring a little bit of that sense of
of
everlasting.
Right.
There's more. This is a tough time.
Yes,
and
it is.
how are we going to help the children through it is always something that we think about here at Your Best too, because it's for the best of the entire planet to raise our children well. So, and always give them the opportunities to expand their consciousness. So coming up with creative new ways to celebrate the traditions that we're familiar with us and we're nostalgic over can sometimes turn very advantageous for us, because we come up with brand new ways, and there's new paradigms of energy that flow through us, and the brain awakens up. When we practice new things, we vitalize ourselves.
Right.
So
we expand our horizons.
Yeah, up here,
Yeah.
This can grow. We only use but a small portion of it. It has so much neuroplasticity. Depending upon how you treat the brain, you can expand it. That's my belief system. But I'm sure there's someone who would back that up in the scientific community. I bet there would be.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Tannenbaum.
Yeah.
Oh, Tannenbaum. You were going to talk about that.
Oh, well, when you mentioned something about, you had something about the German history of the tree. And I'm sure that a lot of our viewers will remember, maybe back in grade school, there was a Christmas song that we sang, which was O Tannenbaum.
It probably wasn't this one, was it?
No, I don't think so.
Let's see.
Let's see. Yes, it is.
This is it.
But that was
It's a little old wind-up, or I gotten. So
but that
vintagey,
was, yep,
very
that was
vintagey.
that was the song, and they had it in the German, and they, and then of course they did the English version of it, and basically it was to celebrate the Christmas tree, and a lot of times in older times, of course they didn't have the lights like we have now. Originally what they did is they actually put candles on.
So scary, isn't it, when you
think
about
about it? That did
don't
cause,
do
no,
that.
Don't do that. Don't do that. That did cause a lot of fires.
That was back in the days that we don't want to replicate.
Yeah, no.
I'm saying we're moving forward with new creative ideas.
Get your LED lights.
And get a little container and put
Yeah.
the dirt in it with a
Right.
nice little bulb and let the children watch life come out of that. How exciting and how empowering that is for the children.
Right. And if you want, like I said, if you want to
Don't
use
know,
light,
I don't know
use
where
fairy
you're going.
lights.
No candles,
No
please.
candles, please. No.
Right. Okay.
Let's all stay safe.
Yeah. So it's interesting to me because that sense of the greenery and the importance of then bringing it into the home.
Mm-hmm.
And so they wouldn't have a Christmas tree. They would take, from what I had read, and I'm sure if you looked, you'd see there's probably a lot of different stories of what was done back in different times. But before they had the idea of the Christmas tree, they would bring the boughs in and they put them in the water in the home. Mm-hmm. So that they were kind of like there.
Yeah.
Because you think about a Christmas tree, what happens when you don't water it?
It dies. And
exactly.
It sheds needles all over.
But it's amazing. I've done it myself just because in smaller places where I've stayed and I didn't necessarily want a big tree, but I wanted the scent.
Mm-hmm.
I would go out and cut
some
boughs and make a little arrangement, and
My
water it, and it would last.
Yeah.
You could put some other little flowers in it or whatever,
Yeah, my dad did that a couple of times.
I mean, it's nice. It's something different. Again, it can, dress up even a little place in your restroom.
Yeah. And you can put a few little, you can put some bows on it or something to dress it up.
Yeah. So there's a lot of cute little around the house things that you can do with the kids and with family members and so and come up maybe with your own little song about the tree.
Yeah.
Or a little tradition of planting it and watching it grow.
Sure.
and what that means.
Yeah.
Because I think holding on to that hope, I think, is what it represents. That even in the darkest of times when everything else has gone bleak and really appears dead, think of it, cracking through the ice to get a fish maybe or something, but most, I would imagine, they went into their homes and they dwelled inside like what we're doing.
Yes.
And so I looked and thought, well, what kind of creative things does a person who's gone through that come up with? And you can share the wisdom of the past with the present.
Right. And like you said, and maybe even come up with a few new traditions for your own family, that will carry forth, with your children and your children's children.
Right, or like the stockings, remember stockings? I didn't go through that whole process because we'll talk about that in another show. But, finding different ways within the Hanukkah, it's on a certain time period of a certain days. And that oil is about everlasting. You know what I'm saying? It's the hope and the miracle of that the oil of that one little bit lasted enough time until the other oil came, and you see. So I'm just making connections through the different traditions of what I'm seeing, even with the Yule log.
Mm-hmm.
That would be burned one little part, one night for 12 nights. And it was a sacred thing. I mean, people had to go through this ritual. You had to wash your hand before you touched it. So they had all these different rituals. But I'm just kind of looking at them going, well, isn't it interesting? There are certain numbers of days and times.
Yeah.
But the symbols of light and eternity and hope are uniformed. They're universal. Dressed a little bit differently and maybe put in a little bit of a different ritual, but
still the same
energy.
Same energy, yeah.
Isn't that beautiful?
It is. It really is.
I mean, how united we are even when we're trying to separate.
Mm-hmm.
Because spirit doesn't
And
separate,
no, and interesting that all of these traditions are all at the shall we say the darkest time of the year.
Well, yes,
because
the light is gone.
Because of the light being gone, and it's the darkest days of the year, and then after solstice we start getting the time back. We got getting the light back.
Gaining the light back. But did you know? Because I'm looking at our time, we're going to do 2 parts on this show.
Okay.
Did you know that it's the most interesting thing when I talk about phenomenons with humans, that in the darkest of time is the brightest of the light. See? So in the darkest of times, which we're in December, coming to the end of a very long year, and this is a holiday season for all different traditions and rituals.
Yeah.
But that sense of hope and everlasting love and light and peace knows no bounds between those. That's a universal gift of the Spirit for all of us humans, no matter what, because everyone is really important and unique and, of course, divine.
Of course.
Okay, so
that goes without saying.
The Creator is, the divine one. So that's from whence we came, and from whence we goes toots. Well, we have a little companion. This is the Dasher, and he was with me when I was with Sophie.
Okay.
And so we'll be seeing Sophie in a couple of weeks too. So look forward to that. Okay. Well, I'm looking at her clock.
Are we close?
Yeah, we're getting there close.
We're going to be doing 2
I'm going to come up and take a look and see in the camera. But yeah, take a look at that I've written there.
Okay.
And then I want to talk about the eclipse for a second.
The oiled.
I was just making connections, and I thought, isn't it interesting how?
Yes, it is.
That that connection is there, and so. I mean, you can agree or disagree. It's just my the way I put things together. Okay, so and we talked about the Germany, and I said, the European pagans had dressed the homes with branches of evergreens on the fir trees to bring color and light. So the color, of course, green, became through time in our mind and our brain, and when we came to language, what green was, and then it had an energy, right? Money, right?
Yeah.
And plants.
Yeah. And from plants it came to life.
Right.
Because of that.
Right. And then we honor that tree, we bring it in some way or another.
Right.
Or we honor that light and we bring it in some way or another.
Yeah.
So, so it was just an amazing thing for me to think about that hope, that everlasting life. And so it's just that I started thinking, well, myself, me, well, what happens? Why does that? What's in the evergreen? My brain. That makes it not. Okay, so I looked it up. So, because I had to, because, I had to ask
because
the question.
She has to.
Because I have to. My brain
because
needs
that's the way
to
she
know.
Is.
So, I just love to learn new things.
She does
all the time.
A lot of research for each of these shows.
So this is it. It says that the evergreen is capable of continuing the process of photosynthesis so long as they get enough water. See?
Okay.
So they have an adaptation in them that's built in their DNA system, right? That helps them to conserve water. And they can live for over 100 years. And some live for thousands of years. So I thought the oak tree was rocking, and then I said, "Well, this evergreen must be like."
Yeah.
But in the Yule log was oak.
Okay.
They would use the oak.
Okay.
because it's a slow burning.
Because it's
dense,
and not only it burns very hot.
but
too,
we also know that it has that symbol of the long lasting power,
Yes.
strength,
Yep. Yep.
energy that we spoke about in the earlier shows you can take a look at. Okay. I think that's it. I mean, I'm going through the notes for this show, and then I'll pick them up in the next show. And
All right.
yeah, I think that we're coming up to about the end of this,
Okay.
and we heard a little song, and I think I might play it a little bit once more for us, and in honor of the evergreen tree that reminds us in the darkest of times that there's still light, there's still hope, there's still color,
There's still joy.
there's something coming,
Something coming.
And while
better.
we're going through what we're going through, we want to find new and creative ways to find our best you. So my prayers are with you for a safe and fun holiday season, no matter what you're doing, and just always stop by Your Best You. We love to see you.
We love seeing you too.
We appreciate our audience and our viewers. Feel free to share on the Facebook or on YouTube and make comments and things like that. That's always fun. You can start getting involved. It's not live, but we're trying to get there someday soon.
Yep.
Take care and be blessed. Thanks, Nutmeg TV, for everything you do. We really appreciate you. We know you've had a long year, but you just keep coming up with brand new ideas, and we're looking forward to seeing what you have for us.
And
Brian Biggie says there's a lot of surprises coming, so I'm really looking forward to that. All right, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Blessings.